Hey, everyone. How's the day so far? Great event, right? Awesome. It's so wonderful to be here at HarvardXR. Harvard is where I witnessed in 2017 a really fantastic demo, what you're seeing here on the screen, by Julian Radu. And the thing is that I worked with Julian when he was still working at PBS in 2010. We created together an AR game. But listen to this. You had to print a paper with a dinosaur egg on it and then show this paper to your webcam in order to trigger it. But then you had to kind of rub the egg with your fingers, and then dinosaur hatched. That was pretty cool. But 7 years later, he created this demo. So I guess we're seeing some nice progress in this industry. This demo was really groundbreaking because it was one of the first examples where you show the power of AR as a way to visualize invisible forces, especially for physics. So what you can see here is invisible forces like sound waves and electromagnetic currents that are really helping students learn better about physics, a lot better than just reading a book or looking at charts. So I think that sent a really strong message to the overall XR community and XR builders out there. And I also have an important message for you today. Since 2008, when I co-founded Augmento and later AWE, on a mission to advance AR and VR, and really try to bring it to everyone, I had been championing this idea that XR will shape the future. Well, today, I have a very different message for you. XR is not the future. It's the present. Yeah, that's right. And I can tell you that, in almost 2 decades in XR, I've never dared to say this. But this year, when I look at the state of XR, the incredible energy and progress, I feel confident and I can finally say it. And if you've heard it before, Alvin, say it with me. XR is going mainstream. And, some of you may say, wait, what? I mean, a lot of us have been in XR for so many years and you're still struggling to grow our businesses. Is that what you call mainstream? Well, it doesn't mean that we're all rich now, but it means that we've turned a page. We're in a new stage. But before anything else, let me take a moment to say thank you to all these people in XR that have been working on it for so many years with so much perseverance and passion. Because, thanks to you, the industry has advanced to where it is today. So for those of you who've been in it for many years, give yourself a big round of applause. You deserve it. You're very special. Because yes, XR is hard. It was literally the theme of my opening keynote in 2023. And it's been hard for 50 years, since its very beginning in 1968, when Ivan Sutherland showed the first working demo of a head-mounted display. Ivan, considered by many as the founder of spatial computing, captured the essence of what spatial computing is with a very simple definition. The image of an object changes in the same way the real object changes with similar motions of the head. In other words, computing imitating real life. And that's a concept I would bet my career on. And I think some of you have done that too. Why? Because humans are biologically spatial. That's how we interact with the world. And so should computing. However, in 1968, there was a fork in the road. That same year, the mother of all demos was presented with the first mouse, keyboard, and 2D screen. And history decided that 2D computing should be the mainstream. And since then, a few super smart and tenacious men and women did not wait for history to fix itself. They did not wait for even Moore's law to catch up. They worked their butts off to advance XR technology, and they were way ahead of their time. So in 2024, we decided it's finally time to recognize them, and we created the XR Hall of Fame. We inducted the first 101 pioneers from the first 50 years. These pioneers laid the foundation for the XR industry. And we have here some Hall of Famers. Alvin Graylin, Shelley Peterson, Tom Emmerich are all here. Give them a big round of applause. But in fact, almost everyone in this room is a pioneer and stands to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in the coming years. So please keep doing what you're doing. And I urge you all to explore this list of 101 pioneers, soon to be added 10 more pioneers for this new year. On this webpage, they believed spatial computing is more natural than flat computing. They believed that an inflection point would happen where more smart glasses are sold than smartphones or computers. That one day, XR will replace oxygen. I'm just checking that you're actually listening. That was a joke. And I believe it too. In fact, in 2013, I put this simple but kind of controversial slide at the time. How about you all? Do you guys believe that such an inflection point is inevitable? If so, make some noise. We have a few, okay, not too bad. But does anyone dare to say when this will happen? Well, in that same presentation, I was foolish enough to try and make a prediction. And that was a complete screw-up. 1 billion shipments by 2023. Oops. But I learned my lesson. You know, when it comes to predicting when XR glasses will go mainstream, sometimes it's better to just shut up. But then 2024 arrived, and I had a good feeling. I think many people in the industry had a good feeling. That is, with one exception. Bob Stone, XR pioneer from the UK since 1987 and a Hall of Famer, protested with his trademark rolling eyes emoji. Every bloody year is a breakthrough year for XR. And you know, he's kind of right. Take a look at this VR World magazine from 30 years ago, which is claiming exactly the same thing. Yes. VR goes mainstream and it has great tools, some cool new lightweight headsets, arcade systems, everything was there. And we all know what happened. But 2024 was really different. It was truly a breakthrough year for XR. Maybe not in revenue. Again, we're not all rich yet, but the pace of innovation has reached a new level of intensity. The XR race exploded in full force. Can we actually have sound for the next video? Because I hear something, I hear somebody is calling me from the XR racetrack. Let's hear it.
Gentlemen, hold on to your hats because we're off to the races. Apple rockets out of the gate with a pavement. They launch the Vision Pro and boom, they're setting a brand new standard for mixed reality. The fans are on their feet, and it looks like Apple's headed early lead in this fast-paced XR showdown. But look out, here comes Meta, the reigning champion. They are about to sit back and let Apple run away with this one. Meta teases us with details of their upcoming Quest 3 headset, and the crowd goes wild. Apple's Vision Pro hits the track, sparking a frenzy among developers, but Meta's hot on their heels. This race is just getting started. But hang on, X-Real's making their move, bursting onto the scene with the X-Real Hero Trick 2. They're in this race to win. Wait a minute, Snap has just entered the race with a brand new version of Spectacles, adding yet another thrilling twist to this high-stakes showdown. And here comes Meta again. They're pulling out all the stops. Meta storms back, launching the Quest 3S, which is officially the most affordable mixed reality headset on the track. And wait, there's more! Meta has just thrown down the gauntlet with a prototype of their Orion AR glasses. They're pulling ahead, ladies and gents, and Apple's in the rear-view mirror, so they'll be pushing Apple to rethink their play. Meanwhile, Sony's joining the party with a big swing toward the productivity crowd. They've got a new spatial mixed reality headset lined up, set to launch at year's end. But the race isn't slowing down, folks. HTC and Pico are stepping up. They're a little behind, but they're making up ground, pushing the limits with advanced mixed reality features. And watch this! Samsung is still stretching and warming up. They're cooking up something big with Qualcomm and Google, waiting for the perfect moment to jump into the action. They may be keeping a low profile, but don't count them out. When they enter the race, they'll bring the heat. It's a nail-biter as we approach the final lap. Meta holds the lead. Apple's sprinting down their neck, and HTC and Pico are connected in the midfield. Sony's making their move, aiming for a late game splash. Who's going to pull out the big win? In the fast-paced world of XR, it's anyone's game, folks. Buckle up. It's going to be a 4-0 finish.
Woo! Can you feel the intensity now? And this is awesome for the market, also for consumers. But, this was done like 5 months ago. And since then, so much has happened. First, Samsung is no longer stretching and warming up. They announced the new Muhan headset, and we just saw a live demo of that at TED last week. And they have also new smart glasses that may be released this year. And Google announced Android XR, which is a huge accelerator for the industry. Vivo announced a new MR headset. ByteDance announced new AR glasses. Meta announced 2 smart glasses that may come out this year. And at CES, there were 16 different AI and AR glasses that were launched. A mix of AI, AR, with some with displays, some without, and one with a clip-on. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that it's good enough. The hardware is good and it's widely available. It's not perfect, but it will get improved. And it's great for a wide range of use cases that we all need today. XR content creation tools have also matured. And with AI, some of the hard work has been eliminated. XR is going mainstream. And when I say XR is going mainstream, again, I don't mean that everything is perfect or that we're rich. It means that we've turned a page. And this new stage is, by the way, it's not just a feeling, right? There's some undeniable proof. According to AWE's home analyst Artillery Intelligence, XR is on track to reach $29 billion this year. It's becoming a giant industry. And it's growing fast. IDC is even more bullish, claiming that from next year it will grow at 38.6% year over year. After AI, it's currently the fastest growing tech sector. And on the hardware front, we've seen some of these, but in the past 20 months, so many great new headsets have hit the market. They're smaller, better, improved mixed reality capabilities, and this is not slowing down. Again, it's not fully reflected in revenue. We're not feeling it in our pockets yet. But when you look at the install base, 33.5 million, that's already a significant install base you can play with. And perhaps the most important signal from the market leader is that in the last quarter of 2024, Meta sold the most XR headsets ever. And a hot new category is emerging, a new breed of cool-looking AI and AR glasses. There was the surprising hit this past year with a big jump in sales. Just take a look at this jump from 23 to 24, and it's even continuing this year. And I'm not making this up. This is a legit report. Big tech. Let's talk about big tech investments. It's always a reliable indicator for a product category that is going mainstream. And as we saw in the race animation, big tech is currently locked in a tight race to lead the market. And every player is pushing the other to be better, to refocus on their strengths. They're all investing billions. We heard just Meta is on track to invest $100 billion in Reality Labs. Well, with one exception, Microsoft, which is currently a bit MIA in this race. But when it comes to user adoption, mobile AR usage in the US has been growing steadily and is now at 35% of the population. It's used for games, social, navigations, cosmetics. And it gets really interesting when you look at Gen Z, where almost 92% say that they're into shopping in AR. And VR usage is not far behind at 25% of the US population, but it's growing fast, especially where it matters, with the next generation. 1 in 4 teenagers in the US is currently playing in VR, and a record 13 million new young users were added in 2024. Kids get it, and they will grow and they will play VR and use VR their entire lives. On the enterprise front, almost every single Fortune 1000 company has adopted XR. And most businesses are beyond the initial, what is it good for phase. They're seeing proven ROI and are looking to scale it across the enterprise. Just look at the enterprises who attend one of the recent XR events for enterprises that I've been to, Industrial Immersive. Yeah, XR in enterprise is a force to be reckoned with. And you can see it with the dollars, with the market share. Enterprise revenue is now over 70% of the entire XR market. So if you're a startup, you're thinking of building something, and you want a revenue for the short term, you would want to target the enterprise market. Public awareness and culture is another critical measure of mainstream adoption, right? I mean, we all remember this product that mainly because of a cultural backlash, crashed. And that means it's time for my segment, Debunking XR Myths. And today we'll talk about Google Glass. The truth is that Google Glass was not a bad product. Consumers weren't ready for it, but it enjoyed a nice, not too long, but very productive life, delivering hands-free instructions for workers in warehouses and factories. And it was just one out of many AR glasses that were available in the market in 2013. So back to the present, Christmas 2024. Christmas, is always a great measure for what's the coolest gadget out there. Were people excited about XR? I mean, no one was expecting ChatGPT under their Christmas tree. But look at the excitement around unboxing VR headsets. I think that based on this reaction, it feels like it's pretty much getting into the mainstream. So what are some of the other XR highlights in culture this year?
A stand your ground case like you have never seen before.
The defense turning to virtual reality to show the judge what they really claim happened.
VR in the courtroom, that's the most conservative place of all. I know this is in Florida, but still, don't discount it. It's real.
Virtual reality headset.
These people are coming into his space, right?
And he's backing up.
And he's backing
So
up
as not to be injured like his wife.
For an immersive experience.
Yes, VR has the power to make justice now. Also, the iconic queen of fitness from the 80s, Jane Fonda, is back to promote exercising in VR in 2025. And how about a Michelin star chef pairing an 8-course meal with a VR experience in New York City? And what about some, like an XR product that got a Super Bowl commercial this past Super Bowl? Can anyone guess? AI smart glasses, of course, because they're hot. I don't mean the Chris's. XR is the killer app for AI, and we'll get back to it.
Hey, Meta, what's this?
This piece is called Comedian by Mauricio Catalan, valued at $6.2 million. Which one of you is real?
Which one of you is real?
Good question. How much you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. And together, AI and XR are great to learn about art. Now let's talk about investments. Kind of a sore point, but after a downturn in 2023 and part of 2024, there was some increase in investments. It was picking up until probably the last few months, where I think the entire investment community or sector is being challenged. But on the bright side, Andreessen Horowitz, probably the most influential investor in the world, is bullish about XR. They see dozens of developers making 10 million or over on the stores with small teams and almost no funding. They claim it's among the most underrated markets today. In fact, XR was featured in their latest report, Big Ideas in Tech 2025, where they say XR devices are now widely available and there's increased developer activity on spatial computing platforms, and that is especially promising in verticals that involve a lot of physical world data. Makes sense. And for that reason, we see thousands of iOS and Android designers, developers, hackers shifting to spatial. We see them flocking to XR hackathons around the world. We've seen literally thousands of people going into these hackathons. By my estimate, there are now 2 million XR developers in the world. And platforms like Meta, Google, Snap, and Apple are starting to compete for these developers. Now, what's your guess? Are developers building for the Apple Vision Pro? I guess it's time for another segment of Debunking XR Myths. If you read the news, you would think Vision Pro is a failure. But these reporters failed to understand that the Vision Pro is clearly meant for developers, so they can start creating content for this new platform. And yeah, it's not selling like the iPhone yet, But there are currently 6 times more developers on the Vision Pro than there were on the iPhone in its first year. Okay? 6 times more than back then. And moreover, I think that if you look at the impact Vision Pro had on the market, on the entire XR landscape, it's huge. I mean, can you tell the difference between these two headsets? Well, fooled you. I switched the labels. I see you like this game. Let's do another one. Can you tell the difference between Apple Vision and Vivo Vision? Again, switch the labels. So all indicators are really pointing to the fact that XR is indeed going mainstream. But XR is really a spectrum of product categories. So which part of XR are truly going mainstream at this point? Let's map the different devices categories based on their progress. From prototype, early adoption, niche, emerging popularity, and all the way to mainstream. Mainstream, by the way, is usually defined when a product category reaches 25% or more of a specific target market. So mobile AR, I think we've seen that is now available to anyone with a smartphone, and it's deep into mainstream. VR headsets are now found under many Christmas trees. Reasonable price point, people give them as gifts, used by a quarter of the US population. Smart glasses with no displays, the camera plus AI, are emerging in popularity and are becoming a hit like we saw before. And then you have the high-fidelity mixed reality devices, such as the Vision Pro, Quest 3, and the upcoming Samsung device. They're moving fast to the right. Heads-up displays glasses like Google Glass, RealWear, Vuzix have a very strong yet niche position in enterprises. And the more bulky, full-featured AR glasses like HoloLens or Magic Leap are actually taking a step back and making room for the new full-featured AR glasses like Snap Spectacles and X-Real that are very promising and could move fast to the right. And finally, the full-featured AR glasses with a wide field of view that look just like regular glasses, like Meta Orion's prototype, give tremendous hope to this category. So we can see that some of the XR categories are already in the mainstream, while others are closing in quickly. Another big question around mainstream adoption is, how often do you use XR? And I want to ask you guys, how many of you use it once a week? Okay, how many use it once a day? See a few? Okay. Hopefully it's not more than, an hour or two, because actually it's not recommended at this point. But the thing is that our industry is obsessed with the elusive all-day face device. And until this obsession is met, everyone feels like all the devices are just meh, right? And I think it's a worthy goal for the far future, but we need to recalibrate our expectations for now. I suggest a much more practical obsession. Still awesome, though. Wear it for a purpose. Just like sunglasses, you put them on when you go out into the sun and want to look cool, or reading glasses when you read, or protective glasses when you do some work with your hands. In the same way, XR devices you wear for a purpose. Smart glasses when you need a live translation or look cool. VR headset to exercise or play, or a mixed reality headset when you want to learn a new skill. And this is a great phase to be in, and that's where we are right now. So XR is not the future, it's the present, and it's going mainstream. But to reach the mainstream, we need builders of all kinds, developers, designers, entrepreneurs, to produce eclectic content that's relevant for every person on the planet. Forget about the killer app. The platform itself is the killer app, an enabler for every other niche app. And that's why this year, for me, is the year of the XR Master Builder. What's an XR Master Builder? They're not necessarily experts in XR, but they're masters of a certain domain, of a use case, of a passion. And the most important trait is knowing your audience so well that the XR app then that they create feels like a natural extension of that world. Case in point, meet Simon Rico, a designer. He's a huge fan of Formula One. He had never built anything in XR. But when he saw the Vision Pro and its potential, he decided to put together a team and build a spatial experience for fans like himself. So he can enjoy Formula One races in real time like was never possible before. Now F1 fans are buying the 3500 headset from Apple for the sole purpose of using this app. That's what I mean by XR master builders. So we need them to really focus on whatever domain they have, vertical, and jump in. And the good news is that I'm seeing lots of founder energy in the XR space today. And I see it actually also here in the conference with the showcases. And that's awesome. So what could go wrong? Privacy, a concern that we should never underestimate. Because, corporations already gather tons of information about what people do online. But so far, they're much more restricted to tracking what people do offline. Until now. In XR, when everything we do is in the real world is captured and analyzed on camera, privacy becomes an even bigger concern. And when you add AI to the mix, it could be lethal. It could become the perfect manipulation engine. So how can we address these very real privacy concerns? Regulations make sense. Building privacy into the product, like, keeping things on the device, that's a great idea. Or maybe business models that do not rely on ads. Absolutely a great approach. So there's a lot of work to be done there. Which brings me to finally address the elephant in the room. AI is sucking all the attention and a lot of the money away from XR. And that has to change. We know that AI has mastered the language, but the fun of chatting with bots by typing is wearing off. Prompts are just not that exciting. So, they're trying to look for other better interfaces to access the powers of AI. But so far, the reaction to the new crop of AI hardware has been pretty brutal. So the alternative, and we've seen that all here, we talked about it for some time. We know that AI is making XR better, faster, and easier. But XR is also giving the ideal interface for AI. And, it's pretty much a love story, the perfect couple. Or to be even more blunt, XR is the killer app for AI. But there's actually more to it. AI is currently running out of content on the internet to train its models. It needs access to real-world data. And for that, it needs XR. So XR is not only the killer app for AI, XR will save AI by giving it an interface into real-world data. It's the only way for AI to keep getting smarter. And it's the only way for us to keep humans in the loop. And this is really the core of the theme for our event today, right? The augmented self. But I would say instead of thinking about, AI agents, we need to think about spatial agents. Humans augmented with an intelligent spatial layer. And, investors need to understand it. Businesses need to understand it. There's no AI without XR. So I asked an AI image generator, what it would look like when XR goes mainstream? And this is what it generated. Kind of weird. I don't think AI is getting exactly how XR is going to impact the world yet. And if you want to see all of that, how XR goes mainstream in action, especially if you are an XR builder, I invite you all to the next AW event this June in California. There will be 5,000 attendees, hundreds of exhibitors and builders that will showcase their work. And you should too. And if you want to chat, happy to be contacted at this email or at awxr.com. Come to the event. You'll feel spatial, I promise. And that was the State of XR in 2025. Thanks very much. Have a great event.
Now we're going to open the floor for questions. Please raise your hand if you have questions for Ori.
Hi, Ori. Thank you for the talk. I was just wondering, you mentioned both real-world data and privacy. I wonder how you see these two work together.
That's a great point. You notice it, which is great. I think we'll have to come up with some ways to mitigate the privacy risk because it's inevitable. I mean, these devices and the services behind them will get access to everything that we do in our lives. Some of the simple things is, store all the information on your device. Apple is currently doing it. It's limited in some ways, but it gives one kind of an answer. And of course, I think our governments, there's a lot of ethical organizations that are working on advancing regulations that will help protect privacy. But again, for me, I think one of the biggest things is probably looking at new business models that would not cause us to sell our data, in real life, all around us to those organizations. And I heard in Europe that it's even a bigger concern because there's even less trust for some of the American corporations over there. So they're thinking of creating an intermediary service. So you could still get AI from the cloud. You could still, get the power of the cloud, but it will be a service that you trust that would stand between you using the device and the corporations behind the scenes. So that's some of the ways to mitigate it.